Wednesday, June 26th, and the Dome Homers podcast is back. And I'm your host, Christian Kruger. As always, I'm joined by Neil Mieski and Brian Dorton, and just lifelong Astros fans that love to talk about Astros. So, boys, let's go. All right, we're doing this a little bit different day due to all of our summer schedules. We all have got other things going on, but we are here and we are back, and it is episode 54. And it's amazing. We go a little bit off schedule, and the Astros decide to actually play ball this year. So that's some positive. We'll recap that here with they are 40 and 40.
40.
500.
And they are 4.5 games behind the Mariners. I think it's the first time we've been 500 all year. We're almost to that quote unquote halfway point. They have won 7 in a row. They beat the vaunted White Sox 2 in a row, swept the Orioles, which I don't think anyone thought would happen, and then have beat up on the lowly Rockies 2 games. And that's how you get your 7 wins. Off tomorrow.
I was closest, and I wasn't even here.
Yes.
That is true. That is absolutely true. We gave you the vaunted 6-0, and you weren't even here, so you win.
5-1, baby.
Hey.
Yep.
That was good, buddy.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. We split when you tried it.
Yeah, well, I'm 500 too.
Yeah. Well, the gang is back. So, halfway point, 2 games away. They head to New York and play the Mets for 3 after an off day again tomorrow, which I think the off days need to be discussed because they're about to be done, and we need to figure out what they're going to do after that. But as always, now that we are back to 500, Neil, let me hear this temperature check.
Yeah, I mean, 8-2 in our last 10, and you've kind of hit on the who's we beat. And if you talk to me about the White Sox and you talk to me about the Colorado Rockies, you go, okay, yeah, the Orioles series, and we all saw it happening in front of our eyes, how that changed so much, and the perception of this team. And as it was going, I mean, I almost had mixed emotions because I'm not to the point to where I'm a seller, but I just knew that this would drive hey, how could we sell? The social media side. We're in this, we're back, and all that. But the reality in my mind is still that we have a ton of pitching issues, and while Fromber pitched well and Blanco pitched well, and we snuck through a game with some rookie guy, but if you're just saying that in the past week, hell yeah, and I remember a couple weeks ago, Brian said, how do we become more consistent? How do we catch up? Well, you go on 8 out of 10 game win streaks. You got to put those together, and we talked about that. And the other aspect, again, that I've kind of stood my ground on has been, how close are we in the race? And this past week, the Mariners sucked. They have sucked it up, losing games, to who they play, Miami, the Marlins, yeah. and somebody else I saw that, Tampa Bay. So, it's just one of those things to where I don't know that our problems are solved. The picture looks a little bit better because we've won some games, but again, we're celebrating 500. We're celebrating being 500 baseball, and that's good. We've made up some ground and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to come off like I'm not happy, but I just wonder if this clouds the picture a little bit on maybe what needs to be done. And again, if we're in a spot to where we can get in and we can win, I'm all for it. But the picture isn't that different because of our pitching situation. Now, if that picture changes for the better, if there's assets that are brought in to assist that, okay. But as we are right now, we all know, I mean, we're not good enough to maintain a playoff run. And those are the things that are in my mind that I'm trying to sort through. So again, I'm still holding pattern of let's see where we are in the next couple of weeks at the All-Star break and make a decision from there.
All right, Dorton.
Real quick and easy. What's our record since we got rid of that first baseman? Do we know? Let me. Well,
I sent it to you all a couple days ago.
Let me make it easier. How many losses do we have since
Is
we
it
got
two?
rid of that? 2.
Is it 2?
We've lost 2 games since we got rid of that dead weight. 2 games. I'm not saying that was the only problem, but I am saying that there has been a shift that has happened since then, and whether it was some sort of directive of we're not taking any more around here that was kind of put forward, and then backed up by just DFAing, Abreu. I think that has something has shifted there, right? Our offense we're hitting the ball, but we're not hitting it with necessarily incredible power. It's not like we're hitting bombs out of the park left and right. But I think that the trick is we're getting timely hits. We're getting hits when it matters. And it's one of those things like from the get-go of this is our we have this ability to do this. It's this stored energy here that's just not being tapped. And I think that we're starting to see that. But still glaring issues, right? There's no way that this team can I mean, we're consistently inconsistent, and the fact that we are right now inconsistent on a good side of things. The problem is how long will we be able to stay here? I like some of the things I saw. Like, so who was it? Who's the kid that came up that left in the 4th inning? You got Bloss.
Jake Bloss.
I mean, it's stuff like that where who knows who's going to kind of step in and fill that role and be that, like, remember that mid-season Frenchie last year who like stepped in out of nowhere with his mustached baby and actually contributed and did like an incredible job. So we don't know who that's going to be yet. I mean, Spencer's had a consistently inconsistent start, but when good Spencer shows up, boy, he's good. Hunter,
he looked good today. Spencer looked good today.
He looked great today. He looked great today. And Hunter's been having some great outings. So I don't know, like it's kind of cool to see who's going to be stepping up and going to fill that role. And we've got to make some moves, right? But yeah, I don't know. I'm not as full on down as I was 2 weeks ago when we
were 10 back.
I was pretty.
Yeah.
They were 10 back less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean it's been a heck of a run. So,
so Hunter Brown has been ridiculous the last 7 or 8 starts. Yeah. And you can go back to the podcast at the beginning of the year. I thought he'd be the difference maker, and he started out one of the worst pitchers I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, okay, he needs to go restart him, refresh him in Sugarland, whatever. I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know he looks like a completely different pitcher. And this isn't 2 starts. It's like, I believe I saw today on Twitter, it's like 7 in a row, 6 innings, less than 3 runs. It's nasty. And we said Aaron Getty looks great today. Now 7 in a row. Again, Neil documented it, 2 bad teams and then a really good team that'll be in the playoffs. So, hey, that's what you tip your hat. It's better than going 6-1. Period.
Yeah,
It's 7 in
yeah.
a row, and it's
They
8-2.
won them.
Sweeping the Orioles, man. That was
Yeah, that
something.
was huge. Kyle Tucker, we have no idea what's going on with him. He supposedly took a ball off the shin and died. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, there's nothing that's even talked about. He's past his 15 days. I would assume now it's been so long he's going to go down for a rehab start. Look, I mean, he's not he's barely running. I don't know what's going on there. Again, we know how we feel about the Astros and their medical teams and what they divulge. Supposedly Verlander is going to take longer to come back. Shocker. So,
Yeah,
but
he's not
I'm
even
highlighting
traveling this weekend.
Yeah, I'm highlighting this because they're doing this without Verlander and Tucker, which is huge. Dorton highlighted something I want to bring up. Getting rid of that guy, DFAing him, seeing bye-bye. Look, I agree 100% with that. I also want to say this. I'm a fan of this guy, and no, he is not helping win every game. But they're 5-0 since Joey Bats is back, and he hasn't been the one that's. It's just the energy and the athleticism, and I mean, I've said this. He reminded me in the spring training of Evan Carter for the team up north last year, and Evan Carter's probably a little bit more polished. But God dang it, that guy gets after it. He gets after it when he's in the field. He gets after it on the bases. He strikes out, but he's just a ball player. And I think that also has something to do with it. He brings energy and athleticism. Altuve is just being Altuve. Diaz is now hitting the ball the other way, which has helped. Bregman's on a heater, the typical Bregman midseason heater. And, they're starting to play a little baseball. The advantage they've had is all of these off days. We have another one tomorrow. That's helped with the pitching staff. What happens when those off? What happens when those off days go away? I don't know. I do not know because Bloss is now injured, who they brought up, who I like, by the way. I don't know what they do. I don't know where you go from here. I don't know when Verlander's coming back. So that leads me. Go ahead, Dorton. You know something?
Well, the next off day after tomorrow is July 8th. That's a full slate. All road
rotations,
games.
Right?
All road games.
Yeah, that's 10.
3, 4,
10
3.
games.
3, 4, 3.
Yeah, so that'll be 2 starts have to be covered up somewhere.
Yep.
I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where you go. I would think you could Seth Martinez one as an opener and let him go 3 innings, but then you're going to shred the bullpen when you don't have any off days.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting dynamic. Neil brought this up, so we might as well just dive right into it. We're back in this thing, no doubt. Okay. What if you can make one move? I would think it would be starting pitching, right?
Yeah, it's got to be.
I agree.
At what cost?
Has to be.
And here we go.
Yeah.
At what cost? Because guess what's expensive? Starting pitching.
Yeah.
Well,
and everybody wants it.
Everybody needs it.
Yep. I mean,
so here's who I know, and let's throw this out there on the podcast, and then let's say at what cost. So here's who I know will be going after pitchers. Baltimore, Yankees, Dodgers, Braves, Cleveland. I mean, like, the only people that I don't think Seattle doesn't need a starting pitching, and that might be it.
Yeah, I've heard Seattle's they're already looking.
Well, they're going to go for a bat first.
Yeah, I mean it's that's kind of what I was hinting at. While I'm excited that we're getting ourselves back in the race, how excited are you? I mean, again, if you got a chance, you go for it. But with our current situation of pitchers, do we really have a chance? We sweep the Baltimore Orioles, and all of a sudden we're this whatever team that's back. If we go 2-1 against the Orioles, I don't even know if it's the same vibe. I think we're excited. We're like, okay, that was good. We won the series. But the fact that it was a sweep, I just feel like that added so much hype to the situation, and which, again, I'm still not convinced we don't let Bregman go in exchange.
Well, here's the question. Let's start it. Let's start just the three of us. Okay. So I put teams out there, and we all know that at trade deadline, the most expensive thing is starting pitching. Their bullpen you can get away with, depending on the quality of the bullpen guy. Hitters are going to be expensive. The high level hitters are going to be expensive, but starting pitching is the most expensive. So what do you, I mean, it's going to take another starter, like a 3 or a 2. I mean, we have enough 4 guys, right? Meaning 4 in the rotation.
Yeah.
I mean, what the Astros are going to have to pony up again. And I
And
mean, what are you willing to part with?
Yeah, and that's where I was kind of headed with the Bregman stuff, is that, I mean, is Crane going to continue to pile money into this thing? Are we going to continue to go over the threshold again?
Well, that's
And
a whole
so-
other thing.
And so that's where I'm at. So what do we have to give away? And are we willing to do that for a 500 ball club? And
So here's who I think. Here's who. Again, this is just me dabbling in minor leagues and dabbling in prospects, talking to a scout buddy of mine. This is who I think teams would ask about. This is who teams would ask about. First on the major league roster: Jake Myers, Chas McCormick, Joey Luperfido.
Mhm.
Those are 3 guys they'll ask about. Okay. Once you get past that, you got Jacob Melton, a now injured Jake Bloss, and a 19-year-old hitting guy named Luis Baez down in is 19, who's raking, who's probably 2 to 3 years away, but can rake. And people love the fact that he's 19 outfielder. Like, that's really it.
Yeah.
Jake Bloss is hurt, but I mean, they'll still want him because he's been phenomenal in the minors.
Right.
I don't know who else that teams would ask about. Bryce Matthews. They would ask about Bryce Matthews, our draft pick last year. They would ask about him because he was a first-round pick. Yeah, and he's been hitting well. That's it. So you're either going to give away an everyday player and a couple of prospects, or multiple prospects.
Yeah.
And that's if your offer is better than the team or teams that are wanting the same asset.
Correct.
So Dorton, I'll throw you that. What are you willing to part with, D, for a number 3 quality starting pitcher to help us get into the playoffs?
I mean, it's a this year only type scenario, right?
Well, the Astros are not big on rentals. They would prefer a pitcher at least next year's control, like Fromber. Fromber's got this year and next year. The Astros do not like rentals, and rentals lowers the value of the player you're getting back.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness. Well, I've been bullish on selling Jake Myers for a while because I'm waiting for his stock to fall, and it kind of keeps hovering up there at GameStop level and isn't crashing anytime soon. So I don't know, but I mean, like, if we're able to do a prospect in Myers for a number 3, if that is able to happen, great. But we're also not signing Bregman next year. Right. We're not signing him, period. So we keep him for the rest of this year, and we get nothing at the end of the year. We deal him now, and we have something tangible.
I agree. I think we start with Bregman now. When
What
you
do you mean? So y'all willing to trade Bregman for a number 3?
Well, I think there could be this combination of Bregman and Myers
for a maybe even a number 2,
something of value.
Okay, then who's playing third base?
So that's the next step, right? So who's the guy that goes in for him? Yep.
Like
mean,
I'm with you on center field. We have a number of options. There is no one at third base.
yeah, I mean,
Like
you would
like
have started off with a Dubon, but is he able to be an everyday third baseman?
no, I saw enough
Right,
of him
yeah.
one game. It was pretty bad.
That was rough. That was
I
rough.
trust him anywhere else. I don't trust him at third. So I mean, I don't even think
Well,
that. I don't think the Astros do.
I think it's a combination of if
Well, hold on. Well, hold on. If you're
Dubon's playing third and you get rid of Jake Myers, so then
Yeah.
you've got your outfield
Who-
becomes a little bit. But I mean, you're having to
Thinner.
play Chaz, and you have Loperfido, and you have Alvarez, and then Tucker's there. Okay, so you handcuff yourself, right? You handcuff yourself if you don't get something or someone that can play third base for you in exchange. So is there?
I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're going for it, you're not trading Bregman. You're not.
I don't know that, but I don't know that we're going. I mean,
if we get a number 3, I don't know what number 2 is out there, and
Yeah.
and I'll do a little studying as we get closer to it. But I'm just saying a third quality starter that's going to eat innings that can, is a good pitcher. That tells me you're at least trying to make the playoffs. Well, you can't all of a sudden vacate third base.
Well, are we gonna be able to get somebody on Myers and a prospect?
Myers prospects.
Yes. Yeah. Myers and prospects.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We can talk about if we're going to be buyers or sellers if we want, but it's all about what's at what cost. At what cost? Because while we're playing, go ahead, Neil.
No, I was just gonna say I'm in the mode of starting with Bregman because I'm just still I'm not convinced that we are either. I'm not convinced that we're buyers, and I'm not convinced we're sellers. And we may fly through this thing as is. And again, hoping that, I mean, you said earlier, if our offer is good enough, right? There's no guarantee that anybody's willing to take what we're giving. So if you assume that we try, nothing happens. You don't want to go. I mean, is this team as it is good enough to win a World Series?
No.
Because
starting pitching.
Because starting pitching. Okay. So if everyone tells us no, what do you do? I mean,
I'm about to explain my stance.
Okay, go ahead. Do that.
Well, you either need to be buyers or sellers. If you do nothing, you have wasted going for it per se, right? If we're close, or you've wasted restocking for 25 and 26, and you got nothing for Bregman, nothing for Presley, nothing for Caratini, nothing for Jake, all these guys, right?
Yeah.
Because look, let's say we're not buyers or we're not sellers. Let's just say that
we're stuck. We tried, and nothing was able to come from.
Fine, that's fair. Yeah, team outdid us, so we do nothing.
Yeah.
So then we're going a hole at third base, and we've got the same starting staff. I don't want to hear about the players that are on the injured list because it does not matter to me till I see them throw a pitch in Major League Baseball, and that they're good. Because just because they come back doesn't mean they are. So you still need pitching in the offseason. And are you really going to pay Presley $15 million? You're eating Abreu's contract, which we're all fans of now. I mean, and then you have Tucker and Fromber looming next year.
Correct.
And if Verlander's back, he's gone after next year.
Yep.
So between Verlander, this is why we're at such a tipping point.
No doubt.
That we need to be one of the two. Just think about this for a second. I'm going to give you 3 players. Okay? Just 3 players. Presley, Verlander, and now DFA'd Jose Abreu are $59 million in the salary next year. $60 million between those 3. Now, as we've documented on this podcast, Presley has a player vested option. If he gets 50 appearances, we owe him $15 million. I'm sorry, I would never hit that number. I don't care if we're going for it or not. That's who I would see. There's going to be tons of teams that need bullpen help. Trade him.
Yep.
Problem is, you're probably going to have to eat some of that contract. Fine. I'd rather pay him $7 million than 15. Verlander, what are we going to do there? And
Yep.
then obviously Abreu's already gone. $60 million between those three players. That is a problem. And I haven't even got into the coffee salesman. But I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to mention his name. Because if you add him to the mix, that's another $15 million.
Yeah. And I think
that is a problem.
And so that's kind of where I'm, I mean, this is where we left off on the last podcast. Verlander, Presley, and Bregman with Myers. So there's those four guys, so to speak, that, you know, can the shuffle of those four guys, if those four guys go out, but yet we get some guys in, and I'm talking about playing now guys, and it doesn't necessarily raise our cap this year and still lowers our cap next year, or however all that crazy, you know, Dana Brown GM math works. I think we can do all. I mean, I think that's the scenario to where we're trading pieces and not prospects, because our prospects are limited to begin with, and we're sending potentially MLB proven players. I just think there's some way that we can protect ourselves yet still go for it, and that has to include what you're saying. I think number one is Bregman.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean number one is Bregman? What do you mean by that?
I am starting with Alex Bregman, and where can he go? And
but okay, hold on.
I know
I'm with you. Like we're not re-signing him. I would like to get something back.
That's where I am, because
but again, we have no options at that third base. That means we're sellers then, which I'm fine with, by the way.
But not if you're trading a Presley and a Myers and a Verlander. If that's all part of the plan, and some those four guys, we're going to get a number two, and we're going to get a third baseman out of the deal.
Not gonna happen.
It's a tough position. I mean, but you can, and I can't name you a name, but I'm just saying that.
Oh, I got a name
for third base that we can have this year.
Yeah, but we have to be sellers.
Yeah, and but I'm telling you, there's some combination of the shuffle, selling.
No, I know what you're saying, but if Bregman's involved, it's there. I don't see it. I don't see how
it's dicey, because it's a guy. He's an Astro, and you're shuffling up that.
He is, and you know how I feel about him through and through. But I also understand we're not re-signing him, so I've always been pro get something for him, even though we all knew Springer was leaving, we knew Correa was leaving. You know, this is a little bit different situation. I get it, but I do not believe current situation, and I want Dorton to chime in here, and I'll give you a name here in a minute, but I want Dorton to chime in first. I do not believe you can walk that fine line of buyers and sellers. Either Bregman, either you're going for it and you're going after a pitcher at what you're right at what cost, I don't know, or you're trading Bregman to a contender and you're selling. I don't see how you can do both because of the nature of his position and the fact we got nothing below him.
Yeah. I mean,
Dorton,
I know.
I mean, I think that there's something in between there, and I don't know what that is, but if we're doing if this is a binary response where it's one or the other, in that case, I'm saying let's get something for Bregman right now and just become sellers.
Because you're not convinced that we're a legitimate contender.
Because if we do, because I mean, are we going to be able to get a number 3 by selling the farm plus Myers? Or, I mean, like putting a lot of weight in that.
Well, I'm sorry, buddy. So I'm sorry. Repeat that. Repeat that about what? What'd you say, Dorton? What'd you ask?
I mean, are we even going to be able to get a number 3?
Oh yeah,
Given
Neil's
Myers
point's correct.
and
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Given we put up Myers and we sell the farm. Like,
Well,
are we able to even?
If Myers is attached, I believe you are ahead of the game because he's a major league ready center fielder, and there's only about 8 of them that are worth a damn in baseball. So Myers, while
We have 6 of them.
You're about right. Like, we did this exercise last year. It's hard to name them, but there is less than 10 quality center fielders in baseball. So
No, Brian
his
Brian, I thought you were saying the Astros have about 6. Yeah.
they do.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
He,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
he was
that's-
making a
okay.
joke, and he's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with him. So if Myers is attached, Dorton, a team will always take a major league ready player at a need position, and then sprinkle in a prospect and a marginal prospect, right?
yeah.
To Neil's point, you're in a bidding war. So like, are you just someone like the problem? You can tell you the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the Baltimore Orioles because their farm system is so freaking loaded and everybody wants what they have. That's the biggest problem. Is you're like, okay, you got Jake Myers, prospect, and a marginal prospect. I like that. We got an everyday center fielder. Okay. Let me call Mike Elias, former Astro assistant GM, by the way, and let me call the Orioles. Hey, Orioles, how y'all doing? That's the thing. Like, everyone is going to call the Orioles because they want all of their prospects.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but it just doesn't. It doesn't sit super well. Like, we don't re-sign Bregman, and we get nothing from this.
I agree.
Piece of absolute gold that we have a giant hunk of gold right here, and we are broke as a joke right now at starting pitcher. It's like, sell your gold, dude. Sell it.
Yeah.
Get you a pitcher.
And he's a rental, but wherever he goes, they're going to try to re-sign him, and he plays at a premium position. Oh, and by the way, massive playoff experience.
And I guess that's what I would say where I officially am too is I think we're basically saying the same thing. If our farm system was in a better spot, then you're more likely to take the risk on this season to go for it. Because
probably.
I mean, again, we're playing 500 ball, and we're talking about getting a wild card, maybe winning the division. And it's definitely possible. Yes, we could win the division. But again, our pitching situation is so fickle that is dicey to say we're going all in. Last year, we were in a position, we went and got Verlander, we went all in, 1 game short. We're playing 500 baseball. We swept the Baltimore Orioles at home. They had been rocking and rolling. They swept through everybody, Yankees, Braves, everybody. They came to our place. We beat them. So there's just this, all of a sudden, because of one series, like we're contenders. And I just don't feel like all that much changed just because we beat the Baltimore Orioles. I just don't. And so, again, I'm treading very carefully. I would be. And I'm still in I want to try to get a little bit of both worlds, selling Bregman, getting something for Bregman, getting rid of Presley. I'm good with getting rid of Verlander. There's rumors already, Scoble for Verlander and prospects, and there's all the.
Why would the Tigers ever do that?
Right, and so there's just and obviously there's probably pieces to the puzzle, but again, when something like that leaks, we all know that's probably Scoble's agent.
Right.
Yeah, but he's a controllable nasty lefty. I mean, that's
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like, so I just I'm tiptoeing and like I told you at the beginning, when we swept Baltimore, I, while it was good, I had my I don't know how good this really is for us. Seattle starts losing and we close ground. I don't know how good this is for us in the long haul. So, I mean, yes, this is still the position players are we're solid. We are World Series position players, first base question, whatever. Our pitching staff is not.
Okay, since you brought it up, it's time to DFA Singleton.
I don't know
It's
if
time.
DFA him.
What?
Well, there's
You
nothing
want
else
to
you
leave
can
him on
do.
the? Yeah, you want to leave him on the bench?
Can he
He's
even go
taking up a
back down to
roster
Sugar Land?
spot. No,
Yeah.
I don't even think he can go down to Sugar Land anymore.
no, he has to be DFA'd and not picked up, which he might not be, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, that should tell you all you need to know where he is as a Major League Baseball player. Now, a lot of that has to do with age, but if they DFA him, he's probably not getting picked up.
Yeah, but it's because of what a 2 week stretch where I mean
He's
things
not.
didn't.
He's not a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, but who are we going to put there? Dubon, Lil Perfido. Well, yeah, but that's then to me that you're selling. I mean, you're those aren't Major League
We
Baseball.
only are we've talked about this. You've said it. We've all said it. You only think you and me and Dorton and everyone else think Singleton is way better than he really is because we had that. You know what?
Correct,
He's
Right.
not good.
but
Comparatively.
so so this
He's
is what
taking
I
a roster spot.
so this is what he's the guy because remember we've talked about this too. Who is the next guy? This is the survivor, right? Voted the bad guy, Abreu off the island. Who's the next one? It's I mean, it's a Singleton. Singleton's the next guy. And so, but I don't know, like you don't feel great about Dubon at third. Dubon playing, I love the asset of Dubon to play multiple places.
Yeah, I do too.
And if I felt like Joey Loperfido,
Well, they're not playing. They've already done it. And Dana Brown said today he's an outfielder. So
correct.
that's
That's
not
what I'm
happening.
saying.
I don't
If they
agree.
had,
I don't agree with it, but that's what the Astros think.
right. So that's not an option. So
No.
is Mauricio Dubon your everyday first baseman? Well, you need a backup. Well, who is it? I mean, I don't mind at all. I mean, we hadn't seen
Diaz or Caratini?
Caratini's hurt.
Caratini's hurt.
Diaz, sure. I mean, are we rocking and rolling with Cesar Salazar? I mean, who's played his role perfectly? But again, I go back to the days of you've got role players who become everyday players, and all of a sudden they become average. And I'm not saying Dubon would be that. He proved himself in some form or fashion last year, filling in for Altuve. But I would rather have a first baseman, a proven first baseman there. Because otherwise, I feel like we're putting a band-aid on a situation and we're not going. I mean, this is again, are we buyers, are we sellers, are we maintainers? And so I know Singleton is not whatever.
He's below average at a power position.
Yes. But I just don't believe that on our current roster there's anybody that's going to just make the difference in us
Okay.
being a World Series team.
Then play him once a week. I'm tired of seeing him because he's not
That's
good.
what they did it.
I know.
That's what they did this past week.
I don't
That's
like
what
him on the roster.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm looking. He's 92 WRC plus, so he's 8% below the average Major League Baseball player, which isn't. It's below average. It's not terrible, but the problem is he plays. He's not playing shortstop. He plays first base. And
Can any
I
of those?
see it as a big picture. There's no future for him. Like there is no future of him in the organization.
I agree with that. I agree. It just becomes a situation to where no different than we're saying there's nobody behind Bregman. In my mind, there's nobody behind him. And not saying he's great. I'm just saying, what
Your
do we
point's
have
taken. Your point's
behind
taken.
him?
This is why I don't understand why Joey Luperfido played 60 games in the minors at first base last year.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
irritating.
I don't either.
It's
When
so
we're-
irritating.
But there
I
has
mean,
to
are
be
there?
some reason, right? I mean, there has to be. Now, it could be mismanagement. It could be we're going to need this guy to take maybe Tucker's place if Tucker leaves. I don't know.
To Dorton's point, we have 74 outfielders.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I sit there and go, is there already some understanding that we're not going to have 64 outfielders? So I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. Had he come up playing first base, it's a no-brainer. I mean, 100%. Put that dude in the lineup, and you're not buying, you're not selling, you're rocking and rolling with a young guy who like as you said, athleticism, energy, and we rock and roll with this kid, and you've got a first baseman for a long time. Hopefully, it didn't happen.
Okay. Let's say we do. Let's talk positions. Let's say we do nothing. Let's say we didn't get any takers. We're not trading Bregman. We're going to try to go for it with our current roster. Or, Neil, you said it, people outbid us, which could very well happen. That means we have a hole at third and a hole at first base next year.
Yep.
Right? Everything else is you can start Luperfido in left. If you don't trade Myers and Chad, you have that rotation of Jordan, Myers, Chaz, Tucker for one more year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, people keep saying, well, Kruger, you want to sell. And what do I always, my response always was, well, I want to make us better in 26. Because guess what? 25, we've got crap to do just to put on a formidable roster in 25. We don't have a first baseman or a third baseman. Like, we don't. So, well, there's still stuff we have to do just to get a formidable roster just for 25.
Yep.
And any of those guys that have been coming up and down, the Amayas and the Kessingers, and
Please don't ever mention that name again.
I mean, but what I mean, like, what are they coming up and down for? Like, why are they here if they can only play shortstop?
Yeah, they're
If
just
they can only play second.
Kessinger played some first base, but he's not going to hit.
Yeah, he sucks.
I mean, like, he's not going to hit. Like, he's a total DFA candidate in a year or two when we've got a deeper farm and he's exhausted options. He's a DFA. He'll be a DFA probably.
Yeah, I mean, this is.
I don't understand why we keep them around to begin with. That's just how thin our farm
I'll
is.
tell you my.
Whoa.
That's exactly right. I'll
Ding,
tell you.
That's
ding,
it.
ding,
Yes.
ding, ding. That's exactly it.
The
You
fact
have
that
to have
Hensley
bodies.
Hensley is still in the picture.
Ding, ding.
Hensley is a starter, is an everyday starter in Sugarland.
And I'll do this. I'll tell you what. I'll do this for the podcast before the trade deadline. Is I will go through the top 10 list of the Orioles prospects and the top 10 list of the Astros, and there might not be an Astro in the top 10 of the Orioles prospect list.
Sure.
And so that's Neil. I mean, Neil and Dorton, to your point, Dorton. That's why is because anything we get from any farm would likely, with the exception of a couple of players, be an upgrade in our farm for our future. And that's why I've always said we're such a critical point because we have assets that other teams are going to want, and we can get 6 to 8 to 10 players. Now, they're not all going to be studs.
No.
5 or 6 probably will be, and the rest will be lottery tickets. And sometimes that lottery ticket is not going to pay off, and sometimes it is. And you're like Yordan Alvarez, lottery ticket.
Yeah.
But that's not always going to happen. But you're going to get 5 or 6 quality dudes that are going to immediately be in the top 10 of your current farm system. That is a massive upgrade.
So let me ask y'all this. If you had to check a box today, right now, buyers or sellers, Brian? I know
Sell
it's
it and get somebody. Sell it and get somebody for Bregman.
Well, hold on. You're just selling Bregman?
No, but at that point, get somebody for
At
Bregman,
that point,
and then
you're
sell.
saying you're sellers.
Right.
Wow, we just won 7 in a row. I did not expect that from Dorton.
But that's how kind of strongly I feel about, like, otherwise we're just sitting here and
pissing away some guys, and that's going to cost us money.
Yeah,
and that's where that.
Well,
that is
and valuable assets that are going to go away.
Yes,
right.
And I know, Brian, you're not saying we're sellers yet, that you want to be, that you
right.
Yeah,
I don't want to sell. I don't. If we're doing, these are your only
Correct.
options, you're either gonna buy or sell.
It's a great question.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, if somebody really squeezed me and I had to go one direction today, I'm the same way. And I know, Christian, you've been sellers for a good month or so.
You didn't even ask me the question.
I didn't have to. That's why I let off. That's why I let off with Brian. And that's, again, that's where I'm at as well. I'm sellers if we can't do both. If we can't buy some insurance out there.
You're greedy, man. You're greedy.
Oh, hell yes.
That's so hard to do both. That is so hard.
There's no doubt. I mean, but like Seattle last year, they got rid of their closer.
Yeah, Paul Sewald, but I think it pissed them all off.
And okay. I mean, they were damn good and pissed away the last week and should have been in the playoffs. And
I don't want to do that, man. I either want to be a buyer, and yes, you are correct. If you put a gun in my head, I would sell. Yeah. But I have a plan. Like, that's the thing. Like, and if we win 5 more games in a row and we're up to 12 wins, sure. I mean, that I can be moved to buy, but the problem is I think that's what people need to understand. And the listeners and people on Astros Twitter and social media, we are so hamstrung. We're going to a gunfight with knives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has to be the perfect situation for us to acquire what we need to be a problem for other teams in the playoffs. Yeah. And, we've already made up ground, and we will. But as quick as we made up ground, we can also lose ground that quick.
There's no doubt, and that's exactly right. That's why I said that. I'm not convinced that Baltimore series.
I just don't want to go. I don't want to go through 2006 to 2014 again.
Sure,
I don't want to do that.
No,
One, like y'all, my kids are spoiled rotten. Brooks is mad that they're 500. Like, he's like, oh, we just got to 500 today. But all he's seen is freaking wins and World Series titles and ALCSs, just like y'all's kids.
Yep.
Let me tell you what, dude, that 6 through 14 sucked.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
that was rough.
And where we are with some of these free agents to be in expiring contracts, I'm telling you, we are moving in that direction if we don't do something, because we have nothing. And I don't want to say nothing, but we have nothing of, I don't know. We have a very scarce amount of major league prospects to fill those holes.
And they, like, over again, it's Crane too, that money. I mean, money.
Yeah, I mean, we're $5 million away from the second threshold, which I've gone on record. I never thought we'd pass the first, and we did.
Yeah,
the second threshold is a mother,
right? And if tax
dollars,
if that's not an issue for him, well, then I mean, you buy players. I mean, and you're going to swing and miss on plenty. No different than prospects, but I just don't know And I guess that's where we are too. Like if we're in charge and we're trying to be responsible, like what does a sound organization look like? Well, it's prospects that you build up like the Astros, like the Orioles have. When your teams like the Yankees who just write a check. And they've had their, I'm not saying they don't have prospects, but
Well, they've been barren for a while,
they have
and
their
look how
one or
many
two.
and look how many World Series they've won in the last
Correct.
16 years.
And look where they finished last year,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you obviously want to try to avoid.
And for the record, I am not sold on them this year at all. But
Yeah,
that's a story for another day.
yeah. So, anyways, I just, I guess to answer my own question, I'm a seller if I had to pick today.
I did not think we would all three say that.
Yes. Now, just because I'm not sold on the pitching. I mean, again, we were probably 10 games over last year. We get Verlander. I mean, I was ecstatic because yes, we gave up. I mean, we battled back and forth and is this good? Is it? But we've always said if you've got a chance to win a World Series, you go and do it. Well, we're a couple pieces away in the starting rotation from being able to win a World Series. And 3-game sweep of Baltimore does not convince me that we're, able to just go out there and win a World Series.
All right, I'm gonna do a hypothetical.
Okay.
Y'all ready?
Yep.
Now remember, I'm gonna name a player, and I'm gonna give you. I have not checked the trade out. I will do some research on baseballtradevalue.com, and I'll bring a full equal parts based on trades next week because we'll do a Monday or Tuesday or whatever works best for us. But when I'll mention this player, your number one competition for this player is likely your division rival who's leading the division.
Okay.
Okay. So understand that their farm system is really good. Okay. That's obviously I'm talking about the Mariners.
Yep.
Phone rings. I'm gonna give you a couple scenarios, but this is one I want to give to you too because we have, for the record, for the listeners and people on YouTube that are going to watch this, we did not talk about this offline. They do not know what I'm about to say. Phone rings. It's the New York Mets. Hey Dana, how you doing? This is what I forgot his name. Pete Alonso. You interested?
Oof.
Am I interested?
Well, I was playing like.
Oh,
Hey,
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Dana, you interested?
Is Dana interested? Sure he is.
Sure. I mean, talk.
Yeah. So now out of that conversation, Brian and Neil, what are you willing to give up for Pete Alonso? Remember, it's not a starting pitcher, but it's Pete Alonso.
What's his contract situation?
I think he's got 1 year. Let me look it up real fast. Good question. He's either a rental or he's got 1 year, but I'll answer that real quick.
He's 1 year, 20.5 million.
So
next he's next year too?
Current. No. 1 year, this year, 20.5 million.
Oh, so he's a rental.
Yep.
Okay. I'm still on. No. Okay. Jordan?
Not just that one move.
Pitchers.
No.
That's not what I asked. Not I asked.
Well, I'm saying no based off of what does that get me? Okay. I mean, why would we make that move with no other moves in sight? No.
All right, Jordan.
I mean, no. I wouldn't. I mean, we had a problem at first base. We let that problem go. We've got some. You put all the pieces together and they're serviceable. They're not. No one's going to make the Hall of Fame over there right now. But is it worth giving up everything and I don't know how much cash for. I mean, Alonso's going to want multiple years, right? Like,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and I mean, then are we putting Tucker's contract at risk? Are we putting?
Yep, that's a good point too.
And we need pitchers. Like our
That's fair.
our pitching staff is on fire. Our pitching staff is on fire, and we're out buying first baseman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mariners. I would right now. I'd put money on him being a Mariner. All right. Phone rings again. They're asking this team's. I'm gonna give you the two teams they're gonna be calling because I'd bet a large amount of money these two teams will call about Alex Bregman. New York Yankees and LA Dodgers. Are you listening?
Oh yeah.
Jordan?
I mean, yeah, who's all right? Let's look at their pitching staff real quick. Yeah.
Oh, they're not giving away anybody current.
Mm-mm.
They're
prospects.
Prospects.
Well, then no.
Oh, I'm all day. I'm hell yes.
I'm hell yes too.
I'm hell yes. Give Bregman away for prospects. Because
I'd like something tangible for now.
Well, that's not how. I mean, I agree with you, but that's not how it works.
But so, like in my mind, I'm saying
they're trying to upgrade. They're trying to upgrade their roster, not plug a hole and let another hole out of their roster.
But that's what I'm saying that we're going to try to do. That's what I want us to do. So we get these prospects from the Dodgers and turn around and give it to somebody else who gives us a third baseman.
I can solve the third baseman deal real fast. I can do it. I would already have this done, but we got to be sellers. I got to be sellers.
Who is it?
Dude, you send Framber's ass to Baltimore and you get Kobe Mayo, who could be our third baseman next year. He's one of their top 10 prospects and two other of their badass prospects because Framber has another year of control. He's probably two high-level prospects and a lottery ticket prospect, just him alone because he's a left-hander starter with another year of control. And Kobe Mayo, guess what? Primary position third base, 6'5", hits bombs, and can also play first base. Let's go. I mean, I can already have this thing done, but we got to be sellers. You don't think the Baltimore would listen?
Oh, yeah, they might.
Their cupboard is so full. Their cupboard is so full. They're going to have to start getting rid of some of their players.
And I can't remember what I read. Baltimore has.
And hold on a second. If they love Mayo so much that they don't want to get rid of him, that means they're going to play him next year. Okay, Baltimore, you love him that much. All right, he's off the table. Really? Then I want Ryan Mountcastle because he can play first base.
Yeah,
and he's major league ready. So which one is it? Are you going to get rid of your high-level prospect that can play third that has not made it to majors yet, but is probably next on the door? Or do you want to give us your everyday ready player, Ryan Mountcastle, who hits bombs at first base? Which one is it?
They've got three guys for two spots.
They've got three guys for two spots everywhere.
Yeah, and they've got, I can't remember what I read, but Baltimore has, is it money issues? Do they have money issues? Something's going on there. There's something
they just changed they just changed ownership.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing for them.
Yeah,
they had a Drayton McClain owner.
Yeah. Selling Bregman is, to me, if it's just Bregman, well, then you're seller. I mean, you're sellers. So then you
can I give you a
go. You got a third one? You got another one?
No. I can think of a third one, but Kobe Mayo at AAA, 22 years old, by the way, 6'5", 230, drafted in the 4th round, 22 years old, hitting 315, 19 homers, 49 RBIs, OPS of 1,061. Sign me up.
Yeah, he didn't suck.
He's a top 5 prospect in that organization, which means he's top 10 in all of baseball.
I'm just I'm with you. I mean, I'm not sold on this team. And again, I'm not prepared to be sellers, but every freaking week it seems like we're losing a pitcher. I
I
mean,
know.
today I think they said France. France is done. Surgery, shoulder, done. He's
Hmm.
there's another one.
I just assume he was working at the Carlotte, Missouri City.
So I'm just sitting here going, I mean, Verlander,
Oh,
France,
Bloss is on the I-15.
Bloss. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
Bloss.
Hey, welcome to the majors. Well, you are now an Astro pitcher because you are on the IL. You have made it,
Forever,
son.
forever.
Yeah. And 2 weeks ago, it wasn't that way. We still had Javier. We still had Verlander. And so without pitching, this I don't see how this goes. For 3 games, we might be as good as anybody. But we've got to play game 4 and game 5.
Well, I don't think we are as good as anybody, but if
I
the
mean, I'm just saying
offense,
Blanco can battle with the best of anybody this year. Fromber, good Fromber. Good Fromber is pretty good.
Good
coin
Fromber's
flip,
still good.
hold on. Whoop,
Oh, I
flip
know.
the
No,
coin.
no,
But he's still
Fromber,
good. Good Fromber
but
is still good.
Fromber is a coin flip. When we hit heads, oh baby, he's good.
Yeah.
Good
I
Fromber's
mean,
really good.
bad Fromber is really bad.
Yeah, I mean it's 7 innings, 1 run, or 1 run, 7 innings.
So who's pitching game 3? Verlander? Unless he's
yeah, I
dead?
mean, yeah, that's
Game 3
he's
win
still
this
got
week.
something.
No, I'm saying
Oh.
he's saying playoff.
For 3 games.
Oh, for the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying he's
So your bullpen's gonna get shredded.
sure it's going to happen, and that's why I'm saying that I can't convince myself that we go all in, and I don't know. I'm not
All right.
there.
Well, let's talk about the let's talk about the
Transition.
next 10. Yeah, let's talk about the next 10 games. I know it's the Mets and New York's 10-game road trip, which
Yeah,
I mean
big.
this absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So what are the next 10 games? I think it's the
Three-
Mets, Twins.
No, okay,
Mets,
at
Toronto
Mets,
Twins.
and then at Toronto for 4, and then at Minnesota.
So I mean, they're all right around 500, right?
Yeah, there's nobody that just screams anything.
Like us.
Correct. So
Oh, Minnesota's 7 games over. Wow.
yeah, so the Mets are 500. The
Toronto's 7 games under.
Twins is 6 over or 7 over, and then what'd you say?
7 under or 6 under the Blue Jays, and the Mets are 1 game under.
Yeah, the Blue Jays are the other one.
All right, well, let's put it out there. We just went past an hour. I'm gonna give some. Let's talk the next 10 games, and then I've got to ask. I want to get some thoughts from our resident Brian Dorton on something. So, 10 game road trip. Who wants to go first?
We want to make predictions for the 10 games or just the week.
Yeah, I mean it's the middle of the week. I mean whatever you want to do. I mean it's only 3 more games in the week. We've talked about being buyers or sellers. I think the next 10
I'm a 10 game. Let's go 10 game it.
Okay,
And
I'm
we
good
can we can discuss in between on next week and see where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on record, I think, for saying 1 against the Mets, split with Toronto, and 1 against Minnesota. So that puts us at what, 4 and 6. I'm willing to concede that 5 and 5.
Okay, and then just for we don't know who's starting the third game on Sunday.
So this is what I was.
Yeah, this is crazy.
This is what I was just about to say. I mean, we go 3-4-3 with no rest.
Mm-hmm.
We got Fromber, we have Hunter, we've got Blanco.
Well, Blanco's pitching Friday. Fromber's pitching Saturday. There's TBA on Sunday. So then do 4 games after that. So we're covered the 4 games of Toronto. and then it's the first start of Minnesota with it will be TBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Jeez.
But we've won
I-
7 in a row.
We
I
won
know.
7 in a row.
Without Tucker,
Yes.
who we probably won't
I
see
mean,
again
I would like to say that if we were able to, 7 and win each series, but that would mean 3 in Toronto, right? So 2-3-2.
Mm-hmm.
That would be like, in my opinion, that'd be pretty good little 10
Hell
day,
yeah.
10 game stretch. I think it'll probably be closer to 5-5, 6-4. So I'll split it and just go 6-4.
Okay, Neil, what did you
Yeah,
say?
I'm 5-5.
Stay above 500, baby.
That's tough.
Yeah,
New
because
season.
I'm saying we're gonna win. I guess some combination, but 5-5.
I think in current situation, I think we win the Twin series. I think we lose the Twin series, and then it's all about. I think
Wait,
we
you said
win. I think
Mets?
current. I think we win the Mets series.
Okay.
I think we lose the Twin series, and I think it's
Okay.
all going to come down to what we do against the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I want to be different. I mean, how can you not? We are what our record says we are.
Yep.
I'll say 6-4.
Man, y'all are making me
Okay.
feel like I'm
Neil's
Christian.
a Debbie Downer.
Yeah, I'm freaking call me Christian Kruger. Jesus.
I should go 10-0.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All right, we're past an hour.
Yeah.
We're past an hour. Hopefully they're better than that. I mean, look, Neil calls me Debbie Downer. I get it. Whatever. I mean, I want him to go 10-0. I want him to go 17 straight, because then we know what's going to happen. We move forward and we got some clarity.
Yep.
I don't want them to lose, but at the same time, I want to do. I want us to be not very good next year. I can accept that and be moving in the right direction 26 and be ready to kick their rears in 27 again. But that's a story for another podcast. All right, Dorton, it's got to be asked. We know we love you. I'll say all the positive things first.
This is getting serious. What's going on?
Yeah.
This is getting mighty serious.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry about the national championship game they played. They played well. That was 2 really good baseball teams.
Yeah.
And it was actually a fun series to watch. That's how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. The problem is now, yeah, absolutely. Now, how we doing on a wellness check of the current situation?
It is what it is. Like it sucks for us, obviously. It does. Look, I'm never going to be like completely floored when a head coach of any collegiate team says, "Oh no, I live and breathe for this college." No, you don't. We all know you don't. And so I'll never be shocked and appalled. It is what it is. I do I like it? No.
I know that.
I mean, but people are going to do what they're going to do. We didn't complain when he did the same thing coming from TCU.
Exactly.
There were no complaints coming from us.
Right.
A lot of scumbaggery talk in Fort Worth. You know.
Sure.
And so I think that probably the only issue is if rumors are true around, like, and these are rumors, right? But like, tanking visits and tanking recruiting visits, and then like, making
I don't.
deals, making
So
under the table deals
I
before
find that
the season's over.
I
It,
find
it,
that
it
very, very hard to believe because he has to form relationships with these players,
agree,
regardless. And
agree.
just so for context here, Dorton and then Neil, I want to get your thoughts on it. So my major league scout buddy, unsolicited, last Tuesday. I've known him for a long time. Great guy. Sent me a text, unsolicited Tuesday, saying Schloss will be the next coach of UT, and I gave the laugh emoji. He's like, "Yeah, right." He goes, "No, it's done." And I go, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, in the scouting circles and agent circles and recruiting circles, it's done. It was talked about before the SEC championship when they went to the
Sure.
regional. He said he was coming, and the context is him and Chris Del Conte are best friends. Okay, whatever.
Mhm.
I mean that doesn't matter. But yes,
the talk is this has been a done deal since mid-May, right?
well, this is from a scouting buddy, and he's been right on everything so far.
Yeah.
At the regional, he told him he was coming, and it was signed last week, and done. But it's unfortunate for our Texas A&M faithful, like Brian Dorton and others, that the portal exists how it exists. But this is also the nature of the beast. And you can sit. I mean, it is what it is. But nothing like this happens going to the national championship game and the next day going to your arch rival. I mean, that ramps it up big time.
The thing that probably, if there's one thing that is a bit upsetting, it's I mean, we were an incredible slide out of home into home plate by Tennessee, from taking that game into extra innings and possibly even, winning that game. I mean, I think what the hardest part is, like, it was an incredible team. It was an incredible season. And we got about 10 hours to kind of celebrate it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I think that's the whole thing. Like, it wasn't anymore about being proud of these kids for getting where they got and, being even proud of the coaching staff for getting them where they got. It immediately became a focus on the coach and only the coach and the coaching staff, and screw them kids. Right. And it's the nature of the beast. It is a business decision, and now it's a business decision for the kids as well. And so I can't, on one hand, say, man, I like the players that we get because of this NIL, and then on the other hand say,
right,
oh, I'm so mad when all of our players get up and leave because of NIL. You can't have it both ways.
Your third, fourth, and fifth hitters the entire year were transfers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, Braden Montgomery is here. I mean, we are playing in the World Series because of Braden Montgomery and because we paid him a bunch of money from Stanford. And
Burton's a transfer, Schott's a transfer.
Sure. Yes.
Josh Stewart, the bullpen guys from Texas.
So I think that, it's just a shame. Like the timing of it it's cruddy. It's had this all come out 3 or 4 weeks from now, it still would have stung, but it would have at least given people a chance to, like, celebrate a good season. Yeah. And now I will say this. Jimbo is tipping his hat to Slosh because he's no longer number one hated person in College Station. That's for sure.
Neil? Oh, so go ahead, Brian. Finish up.
No, that's it. It is what sucks.
No, Neil, you're in Neil's in the coaching world. So Neil?
No, Brian. I mean, Brian hit every talking point that I was going to say. And it started with, it's a business. As much as people don't want it to be, it is. You swim with sharks, you get bit sometimes.
Yep.
I mean, that's how they got. I'm not saying that's exactly how they got there with the transfer portal, that's the reality of it. He came over. I mean, he divorced one. He cheated with A&M. He cheated on TCU to get with A&M. I mean,
he left his family.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. And
Okay.
I don't know how long it's going to take for people to understand that things that are said publicly in press conferences don't mean anything.
It don't matter one bit.
So quit watching them.
Yeah, and I'll say this: don't get upset when a coach lies.
They recruit. They have to
do.
lie. Yeah,
that's what they do.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, every single one. I mean, like harken back to Saban. I'm not leaving. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, and go ahead, Neil. Go ahead.
No, that's just what I'm saying. Like the people's, I mean, this is what makes sports, right? I mean, the emotions, the ups and downs, the pride, and I think again, Brian nailed it in the fact that what probably makes A&M so upset is that there was no like closure of the season. Like, man, that's stunk.
Well, I think that's part of it, but it's also where he went. I mean, if he goes to Rice, that part, it's not the same. It's not the same deal.
But this took the wind out of the sails, right?
Correct.
And it was the team that he went to and the timing of the announcement.
So that's the part that I want to talk about.
The team, had he done the same thing again 4 weeks from now, he goes to Texas. People aren't happy, but it is not burn it down.
If you're a Texas fan, I would think people are saying, well played. You didn't want your rival, who you're fixing to go in the conference with, to win a national champion, or any distraction I can get. Because again, we're talking about recruiting. So the timing of it, if you're on Texas side,
that was leaked on Monday about firing Pierce. That was not an accident.
That's what I'm saying. That's what my thing is. If you're on Texas' side, you're saying, well played. Distraction, your opponents, game 3, okay. If you're A&M side, you're saying classless and all those types of things, which I understand both sides. It pisses you off because of how it went down.
I'm not saying classless. I'm saying, I think it was absolutely calculated.
Oh, 100%.
100%. And the new coach of the Texas Longhorns, who is, now an in-conference rival of the coach of the team that was just playing in the College World Series finals.
Yes.
It's not a good look.
So,
right.
But I mean, for who? It's not a good look for Texas.
It's not a good look for the optics from our standpoint, right? From the Aggies, from an Aggie fan standpoint, is you will have people who will say that you've got this coach who's about to be an in-conference rival. What makes sense? What is his motivation for winning a World Series with Texas A&M at this point? And how long is he kind of been without that motivation to win this game? And
I don't think he didn't. So
I'm not saying that's what he did, but I'm also not saying
he's been to Omaha 7 times. He wants to win a national title.
So that's the question I wanted to bring up to you guys. While A&M fans say terrible, that wasn't cool that y'all did it on that day. And Texas is saying, oh, well played. What is Schloss saying? Because he still wants to win that damn game.
Hell yes, he does. That goes on your resume forever.
it's just you're a coach. I don't care what uniform you're wearing or where you're going or what. You want to win that game. That game means everything. This is what your job is. This is your career. This is
You've never
life.
done it. You've never done it.
So I'm curious to know what his thoughts were, and we'll never know. He'll never give you a straight answer. But I'm curious to know if he goes.
It's a press conference, right? It's a press conference again. So let's
never,
tag that.
Never.
But he was asked that question today in the press conference, and he said, "I've been 7 times and failed. I wanted to win a national championship."
Yes, sure.
Which, I mean, that's canned, right? But I mean,
of course,
you're a competitor. You're a competitor and a head coach of a program. You don't want to lose.
You want to win.
Yeah.
And so I just wonder
but at the same time, you actively coordinated with a team to put a distraction on your
but
current
did he?
team.
But did he? That's what I'm saying.
So he didn't
Well,
accept that job until Tuesday.
Let's be real here. Let's be real here. Well, hold on. Let's back up because I have a little beef with that.
Yeah.
Every coach in every program at every sport does the same thing. All of them. They all know they're getting that job long before the season's over. In most cases, bowl game's over, baseball's over. I mean, I can give you a list of 1,000.
Yeah. This thing was a done deal before they even made it.
Oh, I'm telling you, it was a done deal. He told CDC at regionals he's in.
Yeah.
And because guess what? They were playing Texas.
Right. And so that's why I just wonder if, okay, yes, I'm going to Texas. I'm taking this job at the end of this year. Well, obviously they make it all the way to the national championship game. And then it's national championship game. He's sitting there. They're trying to figure out how to win this one game. And then somebody says, hey, they just announced Pierce is gone. Do what? They just announced.
I'm sure that put some pressure on him.
Well,
there's a reason that he lost his cool, which he did. He lost his cool on that Texags reporter who put him on the spot. And there's a reason. I mean, like, there's a reason that guy asked the question. It's because,
hell yes.
It's like,
has every right to. Like, it's not
you're gonna
it's not selfish. It's
his
job.
I
want to know.
I mean, A&M. Let's just so everyone understands the dynamics, right? Rewind to the month of November. They fired a coach and paid him $77 million before the season was over because they wanted to start the hiring process. I mean,
sure.
So, I mean, this happens.
Yeah, but they weren't going after, a team in the national championship per se.
Correct. That changes. But football's much bigger than baseball. Much.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, it would be a different story had it been, we have a done deal. There, all of a sudden, there are talks of Harbaugh being hired at Texas A&M during the national championship game, right?
Correct.
Or like the day before the national championship game.
Correct.
All of this talk, and then like put it a step further. There's talk of Sark being hired the day before the playoff game at Texas's playoff game, right? If all of a sudden, yes, Jimbo, that's a done deal. That's canned. If all of a sudden the day before the Texas playoff game in football, it comes out that Sark's, the leading candidate to come to A&M. Yeah, that's gonna cost some waves. That's gonna cost some burnt orange waves,
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then after Texas's loss, 12 hours later,
rug pull. Yeah.
Sark's coming to Texas A&M. People are going to be upset in Austin,
100%.
and that's where it is right now in college.
But I want to make clear too, though. I really don't think it had any effect on the game.
I don't either.
I don't either.
Okay.
Let's be clear.
Okay.
I think those guys played their hearts out.
They did.
Think it was an incredible game. It was an incredible series. I really don't.
Okay.
I'm saying the optics of it aren't
Yeah,
great from a pissed off fans perspective.
yeah, it's an annoying. If you're on A&M side, it's the annoyance of
Right.
how that all played out, and I even think to the fact of I don't care. Yes, it probably turns it up a notch, but if he's going to Fresno State, I still think it pisses you off.
Yeah, everyone's
Not like
upset.
not like
Not
this.
like this.
I know,
Not like this.
It's your rival, so that's what I'm saying. It turns it up a notch, but I'm just saying it's still you go the
Because
hell the day after.
we're not going to face
Right.
we're
Fresno
not going to
State
face Fresno
or
State.
UCLA or
Sure.
Right.
Arizona.
Well,
And frankly, 5 years ago, had he gone to Texas, I mean, we're not going to face Texas. People are still going to be upset, but it's not going to be
sure.
as much as, oh, you mean you're going to coach at our in-conference
And can you just imagine
team? Okay,
I mean,
cool.
the first game in Olsen Field.
This is assuming we have a baseball program anymore, because
Oh no,
we don't have any more. I know, I'm joking,
yeah,
but
yeah,
currently we have very few starting players and no coaching staff.
yeah.
So not much
No,
of a
that-
baseball program right
It
there.
does. I will say this with teams, and this is going to make us sound like old guys again, and we need to wrap this up. I had a feeling. I thought we might wanted to do a separate podcast on this because I thought there would be talking points. However, yeah, I knew I would get that response from Jordan. So, taking teams aside, this is where we're going to sound like old men, or I am, at least I'll say I will. The loss of loyalty by players in college sports it's ridiculous.
It's gone.
Like-
well, I mean,
Like,
there's
like
always
look,
been,
I'm taking teams out of it. The fact that a team played for a national championship 2 days ago and their entire starting lineup almost is in the portal
it is decimated. This team is
it is ridiculous.
a team that was
And I'm saying that knowing that most of them are probably going to Austin.
a team that was a base hit or two away from a national championship team is decimated because of this.
Decimated. Yeah.
It's
And not even mention the whole staff.
Utterly
no-
destroyed.
they're not promoting a staff member up to the coach. The staff is all
they're all
going to
gone.
Austin too.
They're all
I
gone.
know I'm
But-
not going to lie. As much as the Longhorn
Utterly
in
gutted.
me,
It's gutted.
it's good for the Longhorns. It is that part of college sports. I just don't understand, and I can't wrap my hand around.
But
I mean,
why
there's
is
always
it that
been-
way? There's one reason. There's one reason it's that way.
It's money.
It's money.
But it's
I
always
know.
been, but coaches have always been able to do that, right? The idea now that the players,
No, they needed their.
you know,
I mean, it just
Maybe-
became so big, and everybody's saying, "Well, these colleges are making all this money. These kids are getting nothing from it," and everybody bitched about that.
and
so
I tell
now
you, you know what? I'm on that train. I was on that
and
train.
and me too.
I was on that
like-
train. So I
and so
can't
they-
complain.
And so everybody says,
Yeah.
"Okay, yeah, let's reward these kids who are doing this stuff."
I can't
And
complain.
so it's the NBC, CBS, ESPNs who said, "I want that on my network. I'm going to give you all this money."
I'm gonna leave it one last thing. And Dorton, he actually brought this up, and I kudos to him for even bringing it up. But another a guy that lives here that's an Aggie texted me today and had some choice words for these players. And I said, I get it, I understand. I would be mad too. I said, and he said, well, you didn't like Schloss. I said, no, I didn't. He was coached at A&M. I didn't. I mean, he took A&M to where they've never. I mean, it's the greatest baseball season in A&M history.
It was a
now-
special season.
Now he's going to the rival. Yeah, I'm going to welcome him, right? Because he can build a
Yes.
program. But you can't. So,
And you're
but
going to
he's
get
ta- he's-
and you're going
he's-
to get
well,
most
he's
of a
calling.
World Series
He's
team.
calling. He's calling me out. But fine, I get it. And then he's talking about how he's so mad at these players. And I'm like, Dorton, and kudos to Dorton for saying it. You can't be mad at them because your 3, 4, and 5 guys this year were all transfers.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be both
You
mad
can't.
at the system that has caused
Right.
this, and then years ago wish that we had a system that paid players. You can't have it both ways.
He cheated with you, and he cheated on you.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's
All right.
without getting into more than that.
All right, let's wrap it up. Boys, appreciate it. This will come out in the morning. We'll do another one Monday or Tuesday, but we had some scheduling stuff. So, guys, thank y'all for making time on Wednesday. For those out there, check out social medias, TikTok and Facebook and all that jazz that we put them on YouTube and Spotify and all that. So this is episode 54. I appreciate it. And one last thing, go Stros.
Go Stros.
Go Stros.